Well, good morning, everybody. Wow. Here, I think spring has sprung. Hopefully, my audio is okay. Hopefully. I was talking to Jay Woody. He said everything was okay. All right. So, we have another channel. We have a sub channel that I've been covering basically random topics on, but really, I'm honed in on the catastrophe in Ohio. Well, when I set up this stream yesterday, this is what happens when you put me in charge of anything. It had it broadcasting on both channels. So if anybody gets a notification for the other channel, nothing's going on there. It's all right here. It's all right here. Hello, Jim22. How are you, my friend? Hi, Brenda. Elmer made it in. No, we have green grass. If you hear, besides the catastrophe in Ohio and me trying to set up two streams at once, which was really stupid of me, if you hear a in the back, that's my cat. The birds are singing outside, and this cat would do anything to get a hold of one of them. And I'm not in the mood to clean up bird guts today. We've had a couple of shows where I've had birds flying around in the house. I'm not in the mood for that today. Hello, Jamie. How are you, love? Lucia made it in. Hello, Mermaid. Mermaid said, good job, Brooks. Thank you for updating us on the Ohio case. I do what I can do. I tell you what, it's just the whole thing is really pissing me off, but I won't get off on that right now. Right now, there's more of that to come. But like I said, that's in a different neighborhood, different channel. So here we are. Idaho. Wow. And I don't like the whole Idaho 4, but that's what it is. Ethan, Xana, Kaylee, Madison. Absolutely horrific. We have rumors upon rumors. I'm sure you've heard it. Crazy stuff. The sources won't stop. The sources are on fire. Just like Replay and Big T gifting memberships, use those wisely because we have a big birthday party coming up. All the February birthdays. Also, March is for members and moderators. You guys are going to be really excited about that. So we still have the sources. Beigefield has still not changed her shirt. What is going on with that? She's got money. News Nation has money. Get her a different shirt. The experts are still going crazy. And Bryan, Bushy, several women are after him. It's gotten so heated that over on Reddit, they had to make their own subgroup. You heard it here. They had to make their own subgroup. It was bound to happen. We've seen it in other cases. I think they had to hire additional staff for Chris Watts because of all the mail he gets. Oh, wow. I don't even know what to say about that. Mermaid just said, wow, that's all I can say. That's all I can say. You know how awkward it is at Thanksgiving when you haven't seen anybody in a while? Like, are you dating anybody? Well, kind of. Kind of, but he's just real busy and can't get away. Oh, really? What's his name? Bryan Callberger. Next thing you know, they're on their phone and they're like, oh, no, he can't get away. Ever. Ever. He's in jail for quadruple murder, you freaks. Good God. I can't believe it. Let's see what Jay Woody's doing. I hadn't even hit him with that yet. He just had Valentine's Day too, and he's a newlywed. Let's see how his V-Day went. Hello, Jay Woody.
Good morning.
How did your Valentine's Day go? I didn't talk to you last week.
Valentine's Day was good. Maybe not quite as extravagant as some in the past, but we went to our favorite little Brazilian steakhouse restaurant
Oh,
and had a nice, very quaint and romantic dinner.
I love Brazilian steakhouses.
Oh,
Did
yeah.
your Valentine's card look anything like what's on the screen?
Absolutely not.
I don't think we ever have to worry about Jay Woody getting a Valentine like this. It says, thank you for making a deposit with Jailmate, $54.56. One woman sent to Bushy. Can you believe
What woman would do that in her right mind?
I have a lot of questions myself. Right mind is part of the problem, Jay. Right mind.
True.
There's dudes out there that, they do it and they do it right. Go to work, car, house, the necessities, keep their credit score high, money in the bank, and they're like, yeah, I just don't have any luck with the ladies. Then you have these freaks. You have Charles Manson, Scott Peterson, Chris Watts. Now we have Bushy and his game in the jail. You know what? We have a death row inmate here. Well, one of many, Jay. His name is Richard Glossip. Crazy story. Crazy story. I'm actually going to be doing a show about him soon. He's supposed to be getting executed pretty soon. Don't quote me. I got to go look. You never know. He's been married and divorced in jail on death row several times.
Wow.
Yeah.
I think that men often get thrown under the bus so often for psychotic antics, but you have this set of women that you see it all the time that fall in love with convicted killers and lifetime criminals behind bars, and it just blows my mind. Like, how do you expect to have any type of relationship, or what do you get out of that relationship?
I can't figure it out. It's one thing to chase the bad boy, at least, you can hang around them and, buy them dinner and, pay for their gas to take you on a date you're going to pay for. That kind of stuff, I guess. But these dudes are in jail for
Yeah,
murder. Bundy. Oh my God. Oh my God.
it's delirium.
Delirium, that's a good word. BTK, for some reason, they don't really bother him too much. He's not real charming, though. When TMZ got a hold of him and they said, have you been communicating with Bryan Callberger? And he responded all around no on Callberger. I about shit and fell back in it. I thought, how bad do you have to feel about yourself when the BTK killer, with nothing to do but read pamphlets from Westboro Baptist Church, doesn't even want to be your friend?
That's funny. I don't know that old Bushy is looking for friends, though, in my opinion.
Well, they keep saying he's an incel. Now, some of these women, that might turn them on. I don't know.
Quite possibly.
It might. You never know.
Yeah, I mean, incel was my first instincts, and I still kind of lean towards that as well.
Jamie said desperate. Savage said a lot of women want a man behind bars they think is famous and innocent. Exactly like Richard Glossop from our state, Savage, who they know secretly will never get out. That way they can never cheat on them physically and they do not have relationships. Dr. Phil did an entire episode about it one day, and it basically came out like that. This woman just was like, I've got him cornered. I mean, they'll buy themselves Valentine's flowers, birthday flowers, and say, oh, he's always thinking of me. Well, he's got nothing else to do, but you buy your own damn flowers.
Yeah, I mean, it's even similar to, for some reason, I'm drawing a blank on the names, but it was like just in the last couple of years, the jail guard, the lady jail guard that helped the inmate escape, and he ended up killing her.
Oh,
You know what
yeah.
I'm talking about?
I did like 20 shows on that out of
Yeah.
Alabama, Casey and Vicky.
Yes.
That was wild,
Yes.
man.
It was. But I'm sure she had some of the same thought process in that,
That was freaking wild, man. Oh, wow. Melanie was doing that show with me almost every day. And I mean, it was one thing after another. All right, let's do some comments and we're going to get to it because it's one thing after another right now. You down, Jay?
Always.
All right, Invisible says, but if the rooms had locks, how would Bryan know the codes to get in? I've been asking about the internal locks for weeks and weeks and weeks, months. And some people say they are code locks, which I have seen pictures of. And they look like the locks like my son had when he had a shared housing when he was in college. Then I've seen pictures from old roommates, not old roommates, but people that lived there before, and they just had regular bedroom locks. So I've had questions about that. But here's the thing. If the rooms had locks, how would Bryan know the codes to get in? My guess is, well, I don't have a guess on that. My question is, I can figure out how Kaylee got to him because I think Kaylee went to check on Madison. I think Kaylee heard something. I think when Bushy came down the stairs, I think Ethan, much like Dylan, I think Ethan and Xana probably wondered what the commotion was. Dylan, I mean, she opened her door several times. It makes sense to me that Ethan and Xana were curious as well, and they were met by him, and the fight continued into the bedroom, and I mean, I guess he shut the door behind him. But how did he get in Madison's room? Madison was found in bed. It's not like she got up and let him in.
Well, a lock is only as good as the door it's protecting. So I wouldn't think that they had like commercial industrialized doors on their bedrooms there. So, if it's just a normal wood frame door and there's no kind of extra protection, what's the word I'm looking for? Support, you could stick a screwdriver in there and jimmy it open.
Even with the locks, the code locks, because they are strong.
Yeah, because all the code locks are doing is locking the knob. It's not, Fort Knox and reinforcing the door itself.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's true. Well, I mean, you would think that everybody would have come running if he actually broke in the door and Madison would have woke up. See, that's what I'm really confused about. There would have been a fight between him and Madison, but she was found in bed, the sheath by her. Then Kaylee, I believe, came in there to figure out what was going on. Then, of course, we heard pretty early on, I guess, that Xana's father had come over and fixed her locks. Did you ever hear that?
Well, I remember us talking about it. Yeah.
Because I know at like where my son lived, which is not at this house, but these landlords are very specific about making sure those doors are locked because I mean of theft, and roommates take stuff from each other. When my son moved into his, it was he was like the landlord, because I mean I read everything. The landlord was really specific. He said, "Don't give your code to anybody. These doors shut behind you and they're going to automatically lock." Um because as they get to know each other, they'll say, "Oh, my code is 1234. I've got extra Cheetos if you want to get some." "Oh, okay, cool. And when I get my money from the pizza place, I'll pay you back." "Oh, no worry about it. My mom will send me more Cheetos." And they get that comfortable, and then it becomes a problem. So they're like, "No, keep your door locked and give nobody the code." So I'm just wondering how I can figure out Xana and Ethan. I can figure out Kaylee coming out of her room. How did he get in Madison's room?
Are you getting feedback from when I talk? I'm getting a little feedback on my end.
You sound good to me. Does he sound good to you guys?
I think somebody had said something in chat.
Oh. Well, let's look at this real quick. This is when they were talking about the locks with Xana. Maybe they'll show a picture of it.
Okay, cool.
Did the bedroom doors of the 4 murdered University of Idaho students have electronic locks like this? A former tenant posted this photo that all bedrooms had combination locks. Lock on the door. This keypad lock.
You do have just a little bit of feedback. It sounds like it could be your microphone or something, like whatever you have on your computer.
Okay, what about now?
You sound better now.
Okay.
All right, let me go back because this is what I'm looking at. So they're saying these are the locks on the doors. So they're doing more than showing a picture. I guess I should have paid more attention when I looked at this the first time. Okay. Now, to get past that particular lock, I mean, what are the chances that he goes in there and the door just happens to be ajar that night? Did he know the code? What the hell is going on here?
I think the chances of him knowing the code are slim to none. I think that there's a much easier logical answer to that.
And I'm not assuming that they are military grade doors.
Right.
Assuming they're just the same hollow doors that are on every, bedroom door. I'm thinking there would be a lot more noise if he had to get in, is what I'm saying.
Well, I mean, yeah, if he was to break the door down, there would be noise. I mean, not necessarily break it down, but bust through. Mm-hmm. There would obviously be a lot of noise. Sticking a screwdriver in between the little space in between the door and the, I don't know what you call that thing that the latches in, mm-hmm. Probably wouldn't be that loud.
Or did somebody give him the code? Maybe that was the thump that Dylan heard. I don't know.
No one else should have known the code, right?
Nobody else should have, but I mean, I don't know the relationship that they all had inside the house. From my understanding,
but that was the whole reason for installing the locks in the first place, right? Was to keep the other roommates out.
There you go. I would think so. Now that's as far as Xana goes. Xana's dad repaired her lock. Madison is the first victim. How did he get in her room? She was found in the bed. Let me look at this again. This is driving me insane.
Electronic locks like this? A former tenant posted this photo and says all 6 bedrooms had combination locks. It's believed the students had a lock on their door similar to this. This is a keypad lock, and I'm at AAA Architectural Hardware in Manhattan with Richard Brown, who is the owner. Are these things reliable?
They're very reliable when they're installed properly and when they're used properly. You press the code that was pre-programmed in.
I like how they put his company name and where he works out there. They are reliable when they're installed reliable, so I guess we know who to call.
Push down on the lever handle, open the door, and then close the door behind you. And it should be locked.
Only when I met on my own.
But this was a party house. Many may have known the combinations.
Meet you at the house, let yourself in. Kids do that all the time.
Hey, Moscow police, come back here.
Meanwhile, Inside Edition has obtained this body cam video taken on the night of the murders, a short distance from the house.
It's one thing to drink in an apartment where no one can see you. It's another thing for us to drive by and see you guys absolutely stumbling down the road.
3 freshmen were cited for underage drinking. Note the time, 3:15 a.m. Police say the murders could have been taking place at that very moment. The 3 were cited near the Sigma Chi fraternity where Ethan Chapin and Zaina Kernodle attended a party. Look how close it is to the murder house. And look at this, a poignant moment today as police carry boxes of the victims' belongings from inside the house to a U-Haul truck to return them to their grieving families.
Okay.
That was an older
that was,
article, right?
I was really just looking at the lock part because,
Yeah.
you do want, I do at least want to know. Let's just say that he had nothing against the house. I will never get over that statement. Nothing against Xana, nothing against Ethan, nothing against Kaylee, but something about Madison. That's who he was there. He goes up the stairs. Madison was the first victim. And how did he get in the room?
You could also go back to the whole situation with Murphy the dog. What if, for whatever reason, it didn't go to bed with Kaylee, and Kaylee just left the door slightly open, so if he wanted to come in at some point, he could.
It could just be that simple. I just keep thinking about, why would you take the risk? He was on a mission if you know you can't get in. You're going to break down the door. He knows that it's not a 1-bedroom apartment. He knows that there's 6 bedrooms there. I think there's a little something to that, Jay.
Yeah, I would agree with that. It goes back to premeditation, motive.
I got to find this comment by Phantasmic. She was asking me something, and then I was switching stuff around. I didn't get to answer her. Give me a second. It's up here somewhere. Phantasmic wants me to weigh in on something with Justin, and I am going to. Don't you worry. We're going to do a whole members live about it. You better get ready. ShareBear said, another possibility is the killer may have heard a female downstairs, which was Dylan, but he may have thought it was Xana. It seems strange he didn't see Dylan, but it was dark, but we don't know it was dark, and may have been focused on getting out of there. If he didn't expect Ethan and Xana, which would make him an idiot, by the way. Okay, I'm not one of these that says, oh, all of this is a game. And no, I think he was on a mission to get at one of them for sure. And I'm to the point where it's just got to be Madison, just by deductive reasoning. That's who he was there to get. Kaylee went to check on Madison. Kaylee got in the way. That's the reason he killed Kaylee. He goes downstairs. I think he was confronted by Ethan. The fight pursues into the bedroom. Then he gets the hell out of there. That's how it seems to me. Of course, we'll find out a lot more. But she says it was dark. I don't know that it was dark, to be quite honest. I have no idea. May have been focused on getting out of there if he didn't expect Ethan and Xana. Okay, not expecting Ethan, that's one thing, because it's not like Ethan stayed there every weekend. Xana lives there. Dylan was extremely lucky. You can say that again. I don't know if I'd call it luck at this point, though. I don't have any idea what the frozen phase is, and seeing a man she thought was Ethan's friends. We only hear excerpts of her testimony. Maybe we'll get answers in June or July. I'm glad that ShareBear put July in there too, because while we're all thinking, oh, June, hell, we don't know. They could have a status conference in May and say, well, we're not going to be ready for June. and it could be moved to July for the prelim. What do you think about that, though, Jay?
I agree with everything you just said regarding the way it all played out. And I don't know that it would be totally pitch dark in the whole house. Maybe particularly in the hallway around the stairs. But you have this big sliding glass door on both floors that's going to let a lot of light in. So I don't think the whole house would be that dark.
I don't think so either. I think the only way it makes sense to me is that after his third and fourth kill, he just got the hell out of there. He saw a clean shot for the sliding glass door and got out. So, but the probable cause makes it seem that he was approaching Dylan's door. That's how my reading comprehension is ringing. They even talk about the latent footprint, but I don't know.
Did they say where the footprint was located?
Outside of Dylan's door.
Outside of Dylan's door. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Sky's World said, how did he even get into the house at all? He came in through the second story sliding glass door, they believe. Fine Art on Fire said, okay, we have to do this in order. Hello, John Q. Fine Art on Fire said, okay, read this in order. 1, someone's in the house. 2, hear someone crying. 3, hear someone say, I'm here to help you. You assume that's just normal partying. You assume that someone's just there to see Ethan. Of course, we're talking about Dylan and what was in the probable cause again. But think about it in that order. You hear something. Someone's in the house. Then you hear someone crying. You hear a voice that you don't recognize say, I'm here to help you. And you just assume it's a party. You assume it's someone there to party. What party guest makes everybody cry and says, I'm here to help you, except for Jim Jones? Who?
Yeah, that would have to be the only scenario in that.
But like Fine Art on Fire said, read that in order. You realize someone's in the house. You hear someone crying. Then you hear them say, I'm here to help you. And you assume that it's just someone there to hang out with Ethan? Or just a party guest, all dressed in black with bushy eyebrows and a mask?
Yeah, definitely doesn't add up.
No. Ava said even Jim Jones was charming at first. Oh, for sure, for sure. For sure. Him and his special purple drink. All right, Crime Think Intuitions says, here's the definitions. Okay. Now, when Bushy was arrested in Pennsylvania, he had his public defender for a couple of days before he got exonerated. The longest flight in history, by the way. I could have drug that plane across the country faster, but anyway. His words, and this is according to the public defender, were, he will be exonerated. Crime Think Intuition said definitions: exonerated means to relieve of a responsibility, obligation, or hardship. To clear from accusation or blame. This is such a narcissistic, the word exonerated really rang with me when I heard that. The public defender said that's the word he chose, he insisted on using. Okay, she goes on to say, or he, I don't know if Crime Think Intuitions is a man or a woman. Acquit means implies a formal decision in one favor with respect to a definite charge. So the question is, why would Bryan choose exonerated over acquittal? That could be a whole show in itself. Why is he choosing the word exonerated over acquittal?
Yeah, it's definitely a odd frame of reference.
Mm-hmm.
It's my feeling that although Bryan has narcissistic traits, that he's more of a sociopath on a psychological level.
Mhm.
And I think that that's him putting himself on a pedestal, envisioning himself to be a greater, more powerful of a person who deserves that kind of recognition.
I'm trying to think of anybody who's been exonerated. You see, the law is not really big about admitting error. Even when they find out someone is dead to nuts in jail innocently, they don't get exonerated. They always find another way to word it. Can you think of anyone who's been exonerated by our government?
Yeah, well, I don't want to go there.
Well, besides that.
Yeah. No criminals come to mind.
Because, and okay, Teresa said, here we go.
I mean, maybe Nelson Mandela.
Well, there you go. But we're not the ones that jailed him. But there you go. Yeah, in South Africa, that's a good one.
Yeah.
Teresa said, acquitted though is not guilty. If you're acquitted, that does not remove the guilt from you. That just means that they had reasonable doubt. That's one of the words. Exonerated is after you've been convicted. So he thinks he's going to be convicted and then prove his innocence and then get an apology.
That sounds so cryptic, because you would think that if they went through the whole court process of discovery and introduction of evidence, that if he was not guilty, he would be found not guilty based on the evidence.
Mm-hmm.
What could possibly swing it the opposite direction after the fact of a trial and conviction? That's weird.
Or it could just be he's being a smart ass. He's just trying to sound smart. Who knows? Ava said, I believe it's just a word he used in school and he feels is something that makes him sound innocent. I mean, some of this could just be that simple. Except the door locks. I'm not ready to get rid of that one yet. Moonrain said exonerations are for innocent convicts. Well, that's true. And that's the thing. I'm just trying to figure out the wording. It's almost like he had the word prepared. But we did an entire show where they said he was stunned that he was arrested.
Yeah, let us not forget, too, that he asked if anyone else was arrested.
This is very true. He did. You're right. He did.
And when I put those two and two together, that it does seem like there may be grounds for more than what we know or meets the eye. But again, why would you have to go through a whole trial, introducing evidence, discovery, eyewitnesses, to be exonerated thereafter?
It does make you wonder. A lot of people believe someone else is involved. I get it. I totally do, because look at the timing. Look at the time. You're talking less than 30 minutes, 4 murders. Nobody survived except for Dylan and Bethany. Bethany is down on the ground floor, though. I don't think he believed that she knew he knew she was there at all. But anybody that came in his path, I think he was there to get Madison. Kaylee checks on her, kills Kaylee, comes down the stairs. Ethan and Xana are wanting to know what the hell's going on. I think if Kaylee hadn't have come in and checked on Madison, there wouldn't have probably been all that noise. I don't think Ethan and Xana would have realized anything was going on. I don't know, though.
Agree. I mean, it's always kind of been one of those things where it would make more sense that there was more than one person to accomplish the feat of taking 4 lives in that manner, in that situation. But who knows?
Mm-hmm. Blue has no clue, says Brooks. Please comment on Bryan's ladies that are in love with him. Well, I kind of touched on that for a minute at the beginning of the show. I think they're mentally freaking ill. I think they're desperate. Have you ever seen pictures of these women that write these convicts, Jay Woody?
Yes, but I couldn't really picture one right at this moment. I kind of have
They
a
actually,
profile.
they are normal looking people. you're expecting somebody that was born with, I mean, looks like, like a dick growing out of their head or something. They're normal looking people. The woman who fell in love with when he was still in jail, the West Memphis Three, which one? Damien, before he ever took the Alford plea. She's, I mean, a very educated woman and fell in love with him behind bars. It's a crazy thing. So this is one of the things that he got for Valentine's Day. Okay? That's one of the things that he got for Valentine's Day. From what I'm understanding in this subreddit group, these chicks are throwing down and they're fighting over who is sending him the most money, who he replies back to. It's crazy. Here we go. Thank you for making a deposit with Telmate. Let me put my glasses on. $54.56. That's a lot of beefaroni. How much is beefaroni in the jail? Do you know, Jay?
Wouldn't know. I know it's like $1.88 at Walmart.
God, really? I remember when it was like 89 cents. But that's like everything
Inflation's a
else.
bitch.
Telling you. So here we go. One subreddit is called Bryan. And it is where one admirer posted the receipt for the $50 she placed in Bushy's commissary account as a Valentine's Day gift. A small group of men and women with men too? A small group of men and women with romantic interests in murder suspect Bryan Kohlberger have formed groups on social media platforms and even started their own subreddit. You know that one woman got a tattoo of him on her upper chest?
That's psychopathy, man. I don't get it.
Mm-hmm. That subreddit is called Bryan, and it is where one admirer posted a receipt she claimed showed that she placed $50 in Kohlberger's commissary account as a Valentine's Day gift. That user wrote, "Early Valentine's gift for Bry. Hope he enjoys it." I think he can't have beefaroni. He's vegan. I do know that they say he drinks a lot of Diet Pepsi. I wonder how much Diet Pepsi is in the jail. He might have gotten him a Diet Pepsi. The comments that followed were mostly from people inquiring how they too might be able to send Bushy some money. Groups of men and women forming romantic interests in alleged and convicted murderers is nothing new. It really isn't. But social media and sites like Reddit have made it easier for them to congregate in recent years. Recent posts on Bryan include, "What was it about Bryan that got your liking? Are we sick for liking Bryan? Do you guys think Bryan knows about us? Well, he got $50 in his account that said happy early Valentine's Day. He knows somebody's sending money." There is also a poll that asked each member if they were a hybristophiliac. What the hell is that? I got to look that word up. What is that word? Have you ever heard of this word before? Or is this something these freaks made up?
I'm looking at it right now. Take the highlight off.
Okay.
Hybristophiliac. Hybristophiliac.
It is.
So
Okay.
philiac
It's philiac. Okay.
Philiac is excess.
It's a noun. It is APA Dictionary of Psychology, sexual interest in and attraction to those who commit crimes.
Wow.
Let's use it in a sentence, Jay.
I can barely pronounce the dang word.
Can we use it in a sentence? Somebody, wow. Okay. According to the ADA, it is not, I can't pronounce it. Hybristophilia is not a mental disorder in itself, but a paraphilia. In other words, a deviation of conventional sexual attraction. Treatment might be necessary if this inclination has negative repercussions. For example, choosing dangerous people as partners. Well, what do you do when they're behind bars? All you got to do is part with your money to get them Diet Pepsi and vegan beefaroni. Do they do vegan beefaroni, I wonder? Like
Wouldn't
plant?
know. But I would like to make a point here, and I'm probably going out on a limb, but for some reason this comes to mind. When I think of criminals, and not to not certainly not glorifying, but not to shed any light on any kind of pedoistic criminals, but I think of Mary Kay Letourneau in this type of situation. Although the kid wasn't a criminal, maybe not necessarily a bad boy, this seems kind of like the same infatuation, no?
Well, he was her student.
Right. It was someone she wasn't supposed to have.
Oh, I got you. I got you. I got you. I see what you're saying.
Now that I know that there's an actual psychological term for it, just makes you wonder.
Uh-huh. The forbidden fruit.
Yeah, but again, you're going down an avenue there with a lot of forbidden things that are on a higher level, so we will stay away from that. But for some reason, that's just kind of what jumped in my head.
Well, I tell you what, that was one crazy case, and like his mom was okay with them dating and stuff. They had kids. She wasn't supposed to be around him. They find him in her station wagon together. Then she goes
Yeah,
to jail, and that's just flat out nasty.
it is.
That's just flat out nasty. God. Kahlberger is charged with 4 counts of first-degree murder in the deaths of Madison, Kaylee, Xana, and Ethan. He is currently being held without bail at the Latah County Detention Center. His public defender in Pennsylvania released a statement saying Kahlberger has been accused of very serious crimes, but the American justice system cloaks him in a veil of innocence. Well, the justice system does, but we don't. I don't need all the innocent till proven guilty people jumping on me right now. Wow, that's a lot. That's a lot, man. That is a lot. And I can't say Bryan Kahlberger. Of course, I say Bushy. I don't know who you're talking about when you say Bryan around here. It's my understanding that when people go into other chats and they say teardrop or Bushy or lie lazy, they get corrected. Like, don't say that around here. Be respectful. You don't have to be respectful here, though. But when I hear Kahlberger, I imagine it the way that BTK replied to TMZ when he said, "No, all around on Kahlberger."
It's one thing having respect on a broad census. It's another to have respect just in general. But certainly a convicted murderer, mass murderer, does not need to bear respect in a mere conversation.
Yeah, I think we're not respecting the word respect. Know what I mean? Kaz calls him Bushy Burger. Yeah, Aaron said yes to me too, Brooks. All right, here's Beigefield. She's back again. Bushy, confident he will beat the rap. Who's writing the headlines at News Nation? We had that reporter outside that one day. He wasn't in the snow like Bryan Enton, so it didn't have as much as a punch. But he was talking about how it was just a regular night on November 13th when the driver brought Kaylee and Madison home. He said the frats were bumping. He said the frats were bumping that night. He must have wrote this headline too. Kahlberger confident he will beat the rap. And she's in beige again, that beige silk shirt. I need a picture of her recent, since November 13th, when she's got on some color besides khaki, beige, light brown, whatever you want to call it. Goodness. Does she realize? Has anyone pointed it out besides me? Have you noticed, Woody?
Yeah, I mean, that's probably her brand, her trademark, her signature. She thinks it's cool, then more power to her.
Well, her signature used to be her glasses till she got LASIK. So now it's beige shirts.
I don't know. I'm not a fashionista or anything like that. I
Whew,
try and dress well on a budget, and I can speak for myself, but probably not many others.
it goes great with her hair, don't get me wrong, but we can change it up a little bit. Hang on, Ava said something. Hold on. Ava said, I saw one. She had on a dark turtleneck. It looked horrible. So she went from the beige silk shirt to a turtleneck? She knows better than that. She used to work for NBC, for goodness sake.
There's a lot that you know about the scene of the crime. There is a lot that you know about the person who was arrested, Bryan Kohberger, and charged with 4 first-degree murders. Those are death penalty eligible murders. But there is some knowledge about Bryan Kohberger that we are just learning about. And we can tell you via multiple sources who are directly connected to this case how Bryan Kohberger feels about the mountain of evidence that has just thus far been made public or has been sourced. And really, folks, at this early offing, I can promise you it's the tip of the iceberg. At this early stage of a case, with just a probable cause affidavit and an arrest warrant, etc.
I got to stop Beigefield right there. What does she mean, or has been sourced?
I missed that.
Let's go back. Let's go back. Let's go back. Let's listen to what she said.
About the mountain of evidence that has just thus far been made public or has been sourced.
The mountain of evidence that has just, well, it wasn't just, it was a month and a half ago that we heard the probable cause affidavit. I keep it bookmarked on my computer, or been sourced. What are we talking about?
I imagine she's referring to their obligatory source again, but that wouldn't constitute as evidence, in my opinion.
Well, you don't wear beige every day of the week either.
Negative.
Sourced. Lana picked it up. Lana goes, sourced? Yeah, what does she mean, sourced? Peanut said Beigefield, I think Beigefield would look great in red.
And really, folks, at this early offing, I can promise you it's the tip of the iceberg. At this early stage of a case, with just a probable cause affidavit and an arrest warrant, etc., we don't even know the half of it.
I like how she's a seasoned journalist, and she threw in etc. Now, I don't think there was an etc. on the teleprompter. I think the heat's getting to her. I think it's getting to her. I think she needs a vacation.
But at this point, what we do know is fair to call a mountain of evidence against Bryan Kohberger in the murders of those 4 innocent college kids at the University of Idaho in Moscow. So I can tell you that he's been talking, and he has been saying that he is, quote, confident that he will be exonerated.
Okay. She said he is talking. Now, we know that he has access to an iPad, and he has communication with people on the outside. You know, he's on the inside. I'm using jail talk. You know, he's talking to people on the outside. And he is confident that he'll be exonerated. What do you think?
Again, it just seems like there's, if he truly does feel confident, he's just not talking out of his ass to be pictured in the light of a not being a criminal, you know, just trying to reflect positive imagery of himself for if any jury not be tainted, you know. But would imply that there's way more to it than we know. Like something that comes to my mind. We know he's smart, very, very smart, very, very educated. We know that He has narcissistic traits, sociopathic. Could he have convinced someone else to do this?
That's what I'm wondering. That's what I'm wondering. Because
Orchestrated it from A to Z.
the whole thing. It seems highly, highly unlikely to me.
But even in that scenario, he's still going to be held just as accountable.
Yeah, just for being
Assuming,
involved.
okay, so, well, picture this. What if he took out the person who did it, knows that they'll never be found, and knows that there's no physical evidence to link him to the crime scene? Maybe that's what he's going on.
Would you consider the sheath with the touch DNA on the snap to be physical evidence? Because some of the experts say yes, and some say no. Touch DNA gets thrown out all the time.
What big profile case has touch DNA been thrown out on?
The experts just said lots.
Well, I mean, I can see statistically maybe they get thrown out or not used, but that could also be a situation statistically where there's greater evidence that it's not needed. You never know with vague terms and broad situations and cases like this of how much touch DNA is used or not used. I think it could have its place in any case, in my opinion. If it is indeed DNA from his skin cells, then that places something from him at the crime scene.
100%.
Doesn't necessarily place him though, which is
what some of these
circumstantial.
and what some of these idiots aren't thinking about is we haven't even heard, because it's not June yet. I guarantee they tore that Hyundai, however you pronounce it, the one that he drove, that rickety thing he drove with his daddy from Washington down to Colorado, all the way across America, that they wanted, that they knew was outside of the house the night of. They have torn it apart from trunk to front bumper. How's he going to explain it when there's blood in that car from one of the victims, or all four, or a dog hair from Murphy?
Yeah, I mean, I think when you have enough dominoes fall, that there's enough evidence to persuade a jury at the very least.
And Beishfield has lost her mind. If anything, News Nation, it seems like they're on his side anymore to me. It's really kind of irritating me, if you want to know the truth. She has been around the block 550 times. She knows that the probable cause is their weakest evidence. It is just scratching the surface to get a damn arrest.
I don't trust any mainstream media as it is. So, they're probably doing all they can for clicks and views and to keep their viewership up one way or another. What is the situation with Chief Fry supposedly being arrested?
I did not hear anything about that.
You haven't heard?
No.
Said the FBI arrested him. But I haven't seen that on mainstream news, just through the grapevine.
Yeah, the grapevine's getting pretty crazy the last couple of days. We're going to do a whole members live about the grapevine. It's getting wild.
Well, it's not just the grapevine, it's the forest that this grapevine grows through. Train derailments, plane explosions.
Yeah, it's been a crazy February for sure. It's been a crazy February.
And those are his
Tensions are
words,
high.
exonerated. And I know what you're saying, because if you're a true crime buff and you follow the law, if you're a lawyer, you particularly know there's a difference between being acquitted and exonerated. And he's, a master's in criminology and in a doctoral program before all of this business. And yet he used the word exonerated, not once, but twice. We learned that back in Pennsylvania when he was arrested. That's what his defense attorney, his public defender in Pennsylvania said, that he looks forward to being exonerated, which I thought was a strange choice of words, because sometimes in common parlance, you'll say that, like, I'm going to be absolved of all of this kind of thing. I'm innocent. But in legal terms, exonerated usually refers to being convicted and then afterwards, upon appeal, being cleared. So I don't know what he's saying. I don't know if he's using the common word exonerated or if he's using the legal word, because he is,
The common word exonerated. What does she mean, the common word or the legal word? Here's the definition: to relieve of a responsibility, obligation, or hardship, or to clear from an accusation or blame. Either way, he's saying he's going to get out of this. What does she mean, the common word? Who commonly walks around saying exonerated?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's kind of what
terminology.
she meant.
Say that again, sorry.
I was just saying, I think that that's what she meant, was just using it loosely rather than precisely. She just worded it weird by saying common word.
Somebody's going to have to work on the teleprompter because it's broke.
Master's student, doctoral program, probably technology, master's student, doctoral program, probably knows the difference. But he didn't say the words acquitted. And this is not false bravado, according to our sources. He truly believes he is going to beat the rap. Again, Bryan Kohberger, according to our sources, multiple sources directly connected to this case.
Has anybody, I know we spoke about it on the last show. Okay. People that know Bushy, people that went to high school with him, the chick that he tried to tickle after the movies, they have all come out. They show their face, you get their name, but now we have all these sources, and not a damn one of them have a name or a face. Can all of these people really, really be working behind the scenes to violate the gag order? Because if a source is found out, that source could get jail time.
100%. And I have a lot of doubt that there's even a source as tight-lipped as this case has been from the get-go.
Yeah. I'm with JD. The police arrested him quickly. Now, to some people, they didn't. Some people said there was a cover-up going on, corruption. Considering what all they had, they arrested him fast, particularly when they had to go across the country and get his ass. I think they did really great work and fast work too. But I've just about had it with these stinking sources. Source. Thank you so much. Angel P's gifted memberships. Thank you, Angel P.
Saying that he believes, he is confident he's going to be exonerated, that he will beat the rap. Now, here's what I don't know. I don't know how much access he's had to discovery yet. That's his attorney beside him. That's Ann Taylor, the public defender. She is a whip-smart lawyer.
Whip-smart lawyer? Did she get a thesaurus for Christmas? What's going on with the new lingo? Whip-smart lawyer?
Even that's worded weird because, again, that's like only a term that your grandparents would use. Smart as a whip. I wouldn't say whip smart.
Yeah. And some people, I'm not going to say what I'm going to say. I'll say that on the members live. She's, she's smart as a whip. Look at it.
Whoever her writer is needs to do some more digging through the thesaurus.
Well, and when she's not down with what they've got on the teleprompter, she throws in etc. I like that. I like when she throws in etc.
He's going to be
She could just be
exonerated, that he
reading it.
will be.
What, Jay?
She could just be straight reading it off the teleprompter.
I didn't think about that. It's not her throwing in the etc. Somebody's
No.
just like etc. Dang.
Eat the rap. Now, here's what I don't know. I don't know how much access he's had to discovery yet. That's his attorney beside him. That's Ann Taylor, the public defender. She is a whip-smart lawyer, one of the best lawyers in Idaho. She is a great attorney. There are the issues that we've discussed on this show, the conflict of interest potential. As we reported last night exclusively, she's met with the judge. The judge has done a review and cleared her of the conflict. That doesn't mean it's the end of the case, because
Let's talk about the conflict. I know we have been over it and over it and over it. Now, here's the thing. I know that Bushy's lawyer at one time represented Xana's mom. And people lost their minds. They're like, oh my God, that's a conflict of interest. That's a conflict of interest. Now, several experts and some from Idaho said it is not a conflict. She's a public defender. She represented her before, which it turned out she didn't. Are we really surprised that they're going to say there's no conflict? Because if they had to remove her from the case, his attorney, Ann Taylor, from what I read, they would have to provide him a private attorney, okay? Because Ann Taylor is qualified to represent him for the death penalty, which they haven't asked for yet. But they're adamant he has to have someone that can defend a death penalty case. They must know it's coming down the pike. What do you think about that?
I mean, it's obviously quite the coincidence that she represented Xana's mother. However, with Xana's mother's case being a drug charge, I think it's apples and oranges when you're dealing with this situation.
Yeah.
That's my 2 cents.
Do you think it's a conflict that she would be representing her client's daughter's killer, presumed killer, alleged killer, accused killer?
I think that you could make a case for it, obviously, and has, but unless there's any type of long-term relationship, being attorney-client or personal for that matter, between the lawyer and Xana's mother, I don't think you can really say that it's a conflict of interest.
Okay, so what about this? H-Town's Finest? What a cool name, by the way. So what if it does turn out that this has something to do with drugs? Now, mind you, he wasn't there for Xana. He went straight to Madison's room.
And I've thought about that too. It's also quite the coincidence that, you have the drugs involved with both parties, or 2 of the 6 parties, 5, how many ever? 5, yeah. Let's just forget the numbers. Yeah, it's a coincidence, and it certainly deserves to be looked at. But in my experience, when you're dealing with murder and drugs and drug deals and people that are hooked on the crap and need it all the time, that there's more people than just the dealer and the user involved. And I think that there would be more eyewitnesses regarding things heard, things seen, and things said if it did indeed revolve around drugs.
And I wouldn't think you would need the FBI's behavioral science unit to help you put that together. When they bring in the FBI's behavioral science unit to give you a profile, the local drug scene, I could figure that out. Me and my sleeping cat could put that together. So that's always been a big puzzle piece for me. They had to bring in BAU.
Yeah, but it could have been also a situation where they knew that there was drugs involved, but they did have the evidence that they had, and they couldn't quite nail down a profile because of the conflicting evidence.
I wonder at what point did they realize when they appointed Ann Taylor, at what point did they realize, was it from News Nation or did they know before that she also had represented Xana's mom? I wonder at what point, or if it even mattered to them.
Yeah, I don't know that it would matter. And I don't think that the judge would do any kind of cross-referencing. If anything, it would be the prosecution, in my opinion.
Right. And they don't give a shit, it seems to me. I just don't seem to think to them it even mattered at all. You know, they understand in a professional capacity that they can separate cases and they can separate what they're there to do. It seems like it was more of a public interest that they were forced to answer.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
I mean, public defenders, it's nothing. It's nothing for a public defender to get assigned to a case and find out later that they've also represented a cousin, an uncle, a brother, a high school sweetheart. They're used a lot.
The prosecution,
Yeah.
as we're told, is not.
Go ahead, Jay.
It was just off the cuff. If you've ever watched Better Call Saul,
Yeah, we talked about Saul the other day with Don Wells wanting a free attorney.
yeah, I mean, you know all about public defense in that matter.
Get Saul. Saul's got the snazziest suits too.
It's a great show.
Not keen on the idea of her continuing to represent Bryan Kohberger, because who wants to have an appellate issue if they get a conviction in this case? So we don't know how much he's been given in the way of discovery. We don't know how much of the prosecution's case his lawyer has had her hands on and then shared with her client. We don't know how much press reports he's been able to actually consume. There's a TV in the Moscow jail, but it's one, and everybody has to agree to what they watch. And who knows if they want to watch the news? Maybe they want to watch, Dr. Phil. I don't know. But
yeah, that'd be something that the criminals in the Moscow jail would want to watch. Dr. Phil. No, of course he wants to watch the news. It's about him. Maybe they want to watch Dr. Phil. Do you see all these dudes that are locked up saying, time for some self-help? Let's watch Dr. Phil.
Not in any world, but he's in isolation, though, correct?
Yeah, do they let him go out there and meander around with everybody and watch Dr. Phil or the news with the one TV in the jail? I doubt it. He's got his own iPad in there. He's getting money on his iPad. I bet they probably let him out to probably walk around out in the snow like Bryan Enton. He gets to shower. He gets to go to the little store, get his Diet Pepsi. He gets his tablet from like 7 in the morning till 11 o'clock at night. So is that to go over his case? I can't imagine them just letting anybody communicate with him.
So you don't know what the restrictions are?
Nope, I've never heard the restrictions. Well, I have.
I would imagine that you can't do any kind of social media.
Mm-hmm.
YouTube, I'm sure, is considered part of social media.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know that he would be watching Dr. Phil. I think he would if he could, as studious as he is and wanting to know everything he can.
I don't know that he has permission to watch movies, listen to music. I don't know. Or if it's all to go over his face.
It would just be automatically blocked, like trying to pull up porn at the local library.
Oh,
Not that I've ever tried that. Just
oh,
saying that's the way it works.
oh. Sassy said, does he get to email with that stupid woman who's in love with him? Probably. Probably. It is pretty funny that all Don Wells got for his violation of probation was a Bible, and there's Bushy sitting there with an iPad and money on his books.
But we don't know how much he has seen, and we don't know how much he's consumed about this case. But you, the viewer, if you're watching this program, I know you, and you have seen a lot. It's a mountain of evidence. It is a very strong case, and it's full. It's got this big old basket of something we call bad facts. That's a term. That's a term used in the business, in the legal, industry. Bad facts. Thank you for watching.
Bad facts. Bad facts. Oh, man. What to do with all the bad facts? I'm glad that she finally said it. There's a mountain of evidence instead of trying to act like there's nothing. I mean, because let me tell you what. When the probable cause came out, her, Hinton, me, everybody were eating it up letter by letter. Now they're like, but could he be innocent?
There's no way he's just straight innocent.
No. He's not as innocent as the snow Bryan Hinton reports from. No. It doesn't seem that way at all. At all. For some people, it's way too circumstantial. But, scratch a lie, find a thief. All right, so this came out for the millionth time. It's resurrected itself again yesterday. The crime lab at WSU. As a PhD student in criminology at Washington State University, Bushy could have, here's the key word, used a crime lab that offered access to police body cam videos and live streams from security cameras. The WSU program runs a complex social interaction lab that gives authorized students access to police surveillance video and crime scene footage. The university denied that Bushy was allowed to access the lab, but an anonymous source, another keyword, anonymous source, told Fox News that people could enter it and use it without approval. It was also said that Moscow police, you cannot watch their body cam on these. Then it came out, you can. Well, very strange that all of these, he's casing the house. He's casing the house. And we have all of these noise complaints made to the residents. We mentioned on the show several times. Do you think he was calling those in? I think it was Angel P that said it makes sense because then he could be watching their response time. What do you think? It's getting more Netflix by the minute.
I mean, as far as that goes, you're going to have a different response time for whatever kind of code is sent out on what the altercation is. If somebody's hurt as opposed to a noise complaint, the response is going to be quicker.
Mm-hmm.
But that does make me wonder, now is this where the whole term was the house the target come from?
Was the house the target? Because when the anonymous source said, no, people use them all the time without a code, just because they said that he never used it, a lot of people use it. So let's look at this, because there were many, and this is old as well, but there were many noise complaints. I've seen, I think, 5 different body cams. This is where they went and they spoke with Xana. Now, he can't call in much more than a noise complaint when you think about it, because he's going to get in trouble for, false reporting. He is that smart. And it is a party house, right? It's a party house. So it's odds are there's going to be noise coming out of the house.
Turn the music down. Turn the music down.
What?
What? Do what? Turn the music down. Turn the music down. What? And the music turns down. Can you imagine how freaky it would be if he really was the one calling those in and sitting in that crime lab watching it?
Yeah, I mean, it's very plausible. But again, I don't think he would have to necessarily call it in if he found the pattern.
Mhm.
There's any kind of database that they can look through and just see the address. You know, like maybe each video is marked with the address of the disturbance or whatever the call out was. That
It
could have
does.
brought his attention to it.
I'm kind of wondering because, he got the seatbelt ticket down the street from the house. And shortly after is when all of these noise complaints started being made. Then they're saying, no, he did use the crime lab. We heard, no, Moscow does not participate in this program. Now we hear, yeah, they did. So imagine if he's sitting in the crime lab, he could have been watching that house. I don't know. If it's true, it'll be coming out someday. I just think it's creepy as hell.
Look, we know that Bryan's a smart dude, and we know that kids, people, everybody in this world does things that they're not necessarily supposed to do. Rules get broken.
That's right.
If the tools and utilities are there and there's no direct guard, for lack of a better term, watching 24/7, the room's going to get used. The computers are going to get pulled up, and Bryan is smart enough to know what he can find on that. At the same time, put yourself in the point of view of him. Remember, he had the altercation with the professor that he was an aide for.
Right.
So this just gives you more credence to see how Bryan assumes that he knows more than anyone else.
I agree. MK said it would give him a good idea of police response times and a clue to how much time he has to be in and out. Because it's just really odd that his ass gets to town. He's looking at the house. He gets a seatbelt ticket. He's seen in the area, not just in the area, but on Greek Row 12 times. And it wasn't for shopping. There's no Marshalls or Walmart on that road. He said the shopping's better over there. No, you were on that road, Bushy. Then we have all these noise complaints. And I kept thinking, how weird. Why all the noise complaints? Because it's not like the party house, as they call it, was in the middle of a retirement community. We heard the one news anchor with News Nation say on that night, all the frats were bumping. Every house is noisy. But this house that also had a quadruple murder November 13th had the noise complaints. Why not any of the other houses with blaring music and frats bumping? Just this one. Very odd to me.
You know, I'm not trying to say that anyone else is wrong. It's just my point of view that he wouldn't care about the response time because he knows he's going to be in and out before the bodies are discovered. I don't think that would be the means of accessing those body cam files on those computers.
Oh, I agree. It may not be the response time. It could be the response time, or it could be just to maybe get it. I don't know.
I mean, that could have just been his actual source of obtaining the target.
Obtaining the target?
Or found a gem while also stalking, was Maddie, right? That we think he would have been the physical target?
Yes.
could have just cross-referenced in that database off those computers and found a gem of all the calls out to the place and had a better understanding. Also, how many of these body cam videos have we seen? Just a couple, right? And they've only come to the door.
I've seen like 5 of them, and you can see the girls up close for sure.
But do they ever go inside?
No, but I have a feeling when when it all comes out, I have a feeling he Zillowed this house a lot. Because you would have to. It's such a weird layout.
Right. Well, you also wouldn't necessarily need Zillow, though, if you have the body cam of a cop going in the house, giving you full picture of how it's laid out.
Good point.
Just a thought also.
Good point. And it would just be like his weird ass. Everybody else is at a party or hanging out with friends, but he's in the crime lab watching body cams and calling in noise complaints.
Yeah, this guy is definitely not your normal college student. He's not your normal sociable person. I think that he is the type of person who gets consumed and obsessed and doesn't care about anyone else around him, anything going on. Of course, he's going to attend his classes and meet his deadlines that he needs to, but I'm sure he was completely consumed with everything about the premeditation of pulling this off.
Yep. And to enter that house and find Maddie, whatever the reason is, whether he became infatuated with her at the Mad Greek or she shut him straight down and he couldn't stand it. I don't know because he followed her on Instagram. We did have a source that spoke to People magazine and said, no, he very much did eat there. Even told us what he ate. Then that's the room he goes to. Still, I don't know how he got in the room. I have no idea how he got in the room. Most people like their privacy. Particularly, people like, you're going to shut your door. It's time to go to bed. You shut your door. I'm going to bed. Not leave it wide open because Kaylee's there. It's a party house. You don't want to leave your door wide open for anybody to come in and out of your room. What if they decide to have a party at 5 a.m? You want to make sure your door's shut. I still want to know how he got in the room. Because she was found in bed. It's crazy.
You said that the source... I keep doing that. I'm sorry.
No, I'm loving it. It's keeping
the
me
source awake. Said that they knew what he ate at the Mad Greek. What did he eat?
Does anybody remember what Bushy ate at the Mad Greek? I had the whole menu pulled up. I might still have the menu. Hang on.
With him being vegan, I'm just curious.
Let me see. Mad Greek. Let me go through my file. Bushy pizza is what I called it.
That sounds gross.
I know. Well, that's just how I labeled it in here so I could find it. Where is it? Bushy pizza.
Okay.
He had some sort of vegan pizza. That's not it. It was a vegan pizza. I don't remember what was on it. But they only had
vegetables.
Vegetables, cheese that he can have. That was pretty much it. But it was like
being a smart ass.
$20 or something like that. I can't remember how much the price was because we were looking at it. It actually made me hungry, and I'm not vegan. And but yeah, he had the vegan pizza because the owner said no, he never ate here, because we did a whole show about it going, well, how would she know? I mean, does he stand out that much? It's not like everybody has to sign in at the door.
Yeah, that's odd that this person would know his face.
Yeah, no. But other employees were like, no, he was there. And they had
other employees said that he was there, that they recognized him?
Yeah.
But the owner said she did not.
The owner said, no, he was not. But I don't blame the owner. She's trying to, she could do like the restaurant in Brentwood, California, where she can charge people to sit in the booth that Nicole Brown Simpson sat in for I think it was like $20 and take a picture. Or she can be like, no, I'm not going to be attached to this crime. I have a going business here, and I'm also getting tired of going home and having Bryan Inton in my damn driveway.
I need somebody to come to the door. Music stays off. Party's over.
Megan, I have her information. I have her cell phone number too. Okay.
Hello, miss.
Hello.
What's your name?
Xana.
Xana, do you live here?
Yes.
Okay, did Megan talk to you earlier?
No.
Okay, does Megan live here?
Megan. I do not have a Megan that lives
Megan
here.
Mogan?
Maddie Mogan, yes.
Madison Mogan? Yeah.
Madison Mogan? Okay, she does live here?
Sorry, she is at the club. She's 21. I'm just going to bed. I have a couple friends over, but
Okay.
this is my ID.
Have you talked to Maddie tonight?
Yes, I have.
Oh.
She's at the corner club.
Okay.
Xana absolutely breaks my heart. She's like, no, she's at the club. Yeah, I talked to her. Here's my ID. She doesn't want any part of this BS. And she's just such a gorgeous, gorgeous girl. You know, I'm not saying that everybody involved is not just, you know, just beautiful people. She just breaks my heart.
Did she tell you anything about anything that happened earlier or anything like that?
Honestly, not really. I've just been here the past hour.
Okay.
Just trying to go to bed.
Can you grab your ID for me? If you'll
Yeah,
run her.
I'm not 21.
Okay.
My roommates are 21. I just came to go to bed.
We're not here to talk about the alcohol stuff, okay?
Okay, yeah.
But this is the second noise complaint we've had here tonight within 2.
Okay, so who would call the police twice on them on Greek Row? All the houses were known as party houses. All of them except for Jeremy's across the street. So it's either Jeremy or Bushy doing this.
Well, I mean, there could obviously be another person, anybody who wanted to spite them.
I've got it narrowed down to 2.
But I would say
DNA Jeremy Sue or Bushy.
Jeremy Sue is a very likely candidate.
Okay. Second, 2. He's like, have you talked to Megan? Who's Megan? Oh, Maddie. Yeah, this is the second noise complaint we've had. Very odd. Very odd. I think it was on Law and Crime. It might have been News Nation. They had done like a whole scouring of the street. And they said, nobody else, no other house was getting noise complaints. Just that one. But they're all party houses. And well, we know what happened November 13th. Too much of a coincidence for me.
2 hours.
I'm sorry
Okay.
about that.
So this time it was the blonde gal and the guy on the back porch playing music. Okay. So
I sincerely apologize about
Okay.
that. I'm just going to bed.
Okay. So just so you understand, you could be getting a misdemeanor citation for this, which means you have to go in front of a judge and explain why you couldn't keep the people in your house quiet.
Okay.
Okay. We've already talked to Maddie once and told her the same thing. Okay. The only reason she's not getting a ticket is because she's not standing here in front of me. But I'm telling you right now, if we have to come back, you're getting a ticket.
Okay. So
you
I'm
will have to go
not
see a
right now.
judge.
I'm fine right now.
You're not getting a ticket right now.
I'm just trying to go to bed right
Okay.
now. I mean, I understand you guys. You're coming here. I'm just going to bed.
Okay. Well, understand that you're responsible for the residents.
Okay.
So whoever else is here, if they have a safe way to get home, you need to kick them out or
Okay.
tell them to come inside and be quiet.
Okay.
Because the houses that are on this hill all the way around here, we can hear you from clear down the road when we were coming up here. We can hear the music.
Okay.
And that's
I'm so sorry.
where we're
about
past the
that.
point of having polite conversations, okay?
Yeah, I'm
Because
so
neighbors are being
sorry.
kept up. Okay.
I'm sorry. It's just like
Is the blonde gal and the guy up there, are they roommates too?
I'm sorry, what?
The blonde gal and the guy that's upstairs, are they roommates too?
None of my roommates are home. I'm
Oh, okay.
the only one home. These are all my friends.
Okay.
So do you understand 100%
I understand.
what's going to
I'm just
happen?
going to tell everyone, sorry.
Okay, fine.
Or figure it out.
And I'm not saying that you got to tell everybody they have to leave, but I'm telling you, any outside music, any loud yelling needs to be done.
Okay.
Because we're not, next time you're getting a ticket.
Okay.
Okay. And if you get a misdemeanor citation, the university is not going to take kindly to it.
Yeah.
So not only do you have to go see a judge.
I've never had to deal with this ever.
Yep. And we don't want to start now. I don't ever remember having come here. So I understand you guys are having to get together, but people have a way.
Okay, that part is what really bugs me in connection with, well, what came about November 13th. This is not the first time an officer said, I don't remember ever having to come to this house before. Now, as they're coming down the street, of course, they're like, we can hear your music, but they can hear everybody else's music. I could hear it on a body cam from another visit they had made. But they kept getting called to this house. Sword of the Spirit said, could Dylan have been scared to call the police so they didn't get fined and ticketed? That was brought up to me. It might have been by you, Sword, and I showcased that comment on another show. Maybe Dylan was like, I'm not about to call the police for noise because I'm hearing something here because we've already gotten in trouble for noise so many times. Really bugs me when the police like, I don't remember ever having to come here before. But now suddenly we're having to come here so much. Do you guys think I'm reaching too much, or do you think this is way too much of a coincidence?
I don't think it's a reach. I think it's a very likely scenario to look at.
Well, particularly in combination with this, as a PhD student in criminology at Washington State University, Bushy could have used a crime lab that offered access to police body cam videos and live streams from security cameras. The WSU program runs a complex social interaction lab that gives authorized students access, and him not having an authorization doesn't mean anything. And then, of course, we have heard recently that Moscow is part of this program. We had heard before that they weren't. When I heard that they actually are, I'm like, well, hell. Woo! Little odd to me.
Look, I don't think it's that far-fetched to think that somebody could have complained on them, possibly neighbor Jeremy, for the noise complaint, because when you watch the other video and the cops are walking up at the very beginning, the music's loud. You can definitely hear it amplifying and echoing.
Mm-hmm.
So it would probably be their house sticking out amongst the others, and I would certainly want to make an example of that if I was the responding officer as well.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, the police are doing what they're supposed to do. You get a complaint, you go check it out. We can obviously hear music, so we have to say something. Even though all these other houses are blaring and the frats are bumping, they're blaring music too, but we didn't get a call about them. Slim, look at this comment. So Bushy made the girls scared of calling law enforcement on purpose to keep them from calling the law when needed the most.
That's a good point.
Wow. Slim, you are so right. Only that house on Greek Row is getting noise complaints. Only that house had a quadruple murder. What a great point, Slim. I wish I was giving away prizes.
Has anyone actually looked at the reports log to know that that was the only house getting noise complaints?
I believe everything Beige says.
A little gullible, aren't we?
Yeah. Too much for me. It's crazy.
I wouldn't say I'm a numbers person because I suck at math, but I love statistics. So I would love to know how many more noise complaints that house had than the others around it.
I think we're going to do a deep dive on this and find out for ourselves for sure, and not just take Beigefield's words for it.
Yeah, it definitely needs to be done.
We heard the police himself say, I don't remember ever getting calls about this house before. I don't remember ever getting calls about this house before, but now twice in one day. Plus, Kaylee was there and got a call. I think Xana was confronted another day. There's 4 or 5 I know of for sure. I need to put them all together because the police each time are like, what the hey is going on around here? This is a college town. Why am I getting noise complaint calls? I'm usually telling the kids, we know you're drunk, get back in the house.
Way of
Yes.
taking the invitation and using it as an excuse to get out of control and be loud.
Advantage. Yes,
Exactly.
I understand.
Okay.
I'm so sorry.
It's okay. I just hope for your sake that your friends don't put you in a position where you get the citation and you have to go to court to defend yourself from your friend's behavior. Make sense?
Okay. Thank you so
Okay.
much.
You want to get a good phone number for her?
Yep. And just remember, the Dean of Students office probably will be contacting you about this as well, about student code of conduct issues.
Yes, I have it. What's the telephone number for you? Susanna,
Of
here's your
course.
ID back.
Thank you so much.
Any questions?
No questions.
Okay. Make sure your friends don't put you in a bad position. Tell them it's time to be done.
I'll go-
Okay.
There's like no one in there.
Yeah. It was the 2 that were around the back. We had to holler at them to turn the music down. So,
Thank
alrighty.
you guys. I'm so sorry.
Nope, that's all right. You take care. Okay.
Thank you.
Woo! And that's all she wrote. And why would they have to go see the dean? They're off campus. I don't know how it goes in a college town. I really don't. But I guess if you're a college student and the police have to confront you, I don't know. Maybe that's how it is.
Code of conduct.
Code of conduct. Code of conduct. Woo! A lot to take in, don't you think, Jay?
Yeah, it's never ending. It's a rabbit hole in itself, and I just think that it's been very exemplified that Bryan, Bushy Bryan, however you want to refer to him, is a very cerebral character, and I would not have put it past him to, by no means, excuse me, I keep getting a scratchy voice. By no means, from what Slim said, that he could have been setting them up to, in a reverse psychology manner, not wanting to call the cops. But I still lean towards the fact that it was so premeditated that he knew he could get in and out without being too loud or being seen, without having the cops called that quickly.
Right. I wonder if he had ever been in the house before, or if, see, at the time that he was coming in, there was a room for rent. So we've just speculated, we just speculate when we do our deep dives here, that he could have toured the house. But I mean, you have to really have a good memory. It's just it's a funky laid out house. But like I said, he could have pulled it up on Orbix like we did, or Zillow like we have a million times, because he knew what room to go to. I have always wondered, how did he know what room was Maddie's?
Yeah, I mean, that's the better question to ask, is how would he know who was in which room? Because once you get inside a house, you can somewhat feel your way around.
Mhm.
And if you're very determined to accomplish your task at hand, it's not going to matter how long it takes to figure that out on, a decent time frame. Yeah, the better question is, how did he know who was in which room, or was it just a coin flip?
Because he goes in the sliding glass door, through the kitchen, I'm kind of turned around. To the right, I believe, would be behind door number 1, would be Xana and Ethan. He did not approach that door. You look to the left, down the hall, kind of a funky way around. It's almost like an octagon look to me. You have door number 2. That would be Dylan. He skipped it. He went up the stairs to Madison's room. We saw the locks. How did he get in? How did he know Madison was behind the door? I don't know.
Yeah, I think if we had any type of motive at all, it would certainly help piece some of the puzzle together.
Detective Juan said, assuming he did know, he picked that door first for a reason. I don't know. A lot A lot to take in. Tony said you could get a sense of whose room is whose from watching outside when lights go on. Maddie had an M in her window. Oh! Well, you don't have to be a criminology student to know the M in the window would belong to Madison Mogan now, would you? Good point.
There's photos of this, I assume.
Mhm.
And that her window didn't face the back.
That's what I have to look at. The house is such a weird layout. When you approach it, it looks like, well, it depends on what side you approach it from. So which way,
Like looking at it right there.
like looking at it right there, well, that would be
would-
Kaylee's room. That's Kaylee's room. Where
Right,
you
but
see
Maddie on the opposite side, correct?
opposite side, right.
Where it gets really dark next to the trees.
Yep. The crime scene photos have it.
Gotcha. Okay, that's what I thought.
Well, you thought right. That would do it.
It's weird that she would have. I mean, not weird. I just find it a little. I don't know. Not too telling that. Typically, you would put something like your initial in your window for others to see, and if that's facing trees, nobody sees it. So it's like, what's the point?
Makes you wonder. It's just decoration. Just girls' decoration. Makes you wonder how often he hung out in the woods.
Well, he definitely was back there for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I've said that from the beginning. I think we also saw in the beginning the detectives going through the ground area back there, right?
Yep.
Putting out evidence number markers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they went. Yeah, they started moving way out. Grandma Bunny said only Kaylee didn't have a bed, just the dog was in Kaylee's room and he went there first. I thought that too, but Kaylee's dad said the bed was still there. And if you see the photos with her and Dylan in her room on that Friday night, you can see the corner of the bed. So Kaylee, her bed was still there. Her bed was still there. She hadn't totally moved out yet to go to Texas.
It could have been a situation where the bed wasn't going to Texas.
Could have been.
Kind of, what you find sometimes in a shared home, the beds stay regardless of who's sleeping in it.
And I've seen a lot of them where someone's moving out and they're like, well, I don't need another bed. And they'll sell it to the person coming in. I don't know. No idea. Well, that's all I've got, Jay.
All righty. Well, it's been a good conversation for sure. I've enjoyed this.
Me too. I like when we can really get in on things.
Definitely.
Well, thanks for coming up, guys. Let's have a big round of applause for our buddy Jay. It's always awesome having him up.
Thank you. Thank you. Tell someone you love them and hug them tightly. Have a good day, Brooks.
Bye, hon.
Bye.
All right, guys. Thank you for coming in this morning to go through more of what we're not going to be done with anytime soon, and that is the horrific situation at University of Idaho off campus, of course. We have more to go through on this, but I'm going to do it on a members live because I don't want to get run the hell out of town with some things that came out recently. So I'm going to get that scheduled. I don't know if it's going to be this afternoon or tomorrow, but I'll let you know. Also, new members, welcome. Thank you, Replay. Thank you, Angel. You are an angel. If you were gifted a membership, that's who it's from. When you go to the channel, Crime Lines and Lies on YouTube, of course, if you go to the membership tab, you can see updates, when the next members live is going to be, as Banfield says, Beigefield, etc., etc. So keep checking that out because that's where I post the members lives. You guys are the best. Best mods, best community, best of friends. I'll see you guys back here tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. You guys are the best. Slim Hauser broke the internet today. I've got a lot to think about. See you guys shortly.